the money that we produce in the coffee shop how to go to the farm.
Absolutely.
Because it's a circle.
Yes.
You need to invest in a farm, because if you don't invest in the farm, you are not going to have coffee.
Absolutely.
And that's what I see in the industry. The industry is putting a lot of money in the development of coffee shop equipment, or in development of different machines, but they are not seeing that the future of the coffee is in origin. Because
that brings me to a question that I wanted to ask you. Obviously, a couple questions. One is, what does sustainability mean to you? Or what does sustainable coffee mean to you? And second is, what do you think people can do, or what can the entire industry do to support the next generation or the future of the coffee at the origin?
So you have to know that most of the farms and most of the farmers live in poverty. And in Colombia, to do a jump from poverty to sustainability in terms of economic sustainability, you have to go through 11 generations. 11 generations. So that's what it takes to get out from poverty. And that's for example, like if you live in a farm, you have no access to hospitals, you have no access to universities,
access to basic needs.
You don't have access to basic needs. And to do that transformations, you need 11 generations. So it means that my grand children were supposed to have those elemental
basic
needs. And it's a lot of time. So I was like in the third generation, but because of the access to education that I have, and because of what we are doing, I think that we are like giving we've been a jumping of 3 generations, so we can
we're like 4 steps ahead. So our kids are going to have the basic needs, because what we're doing now reflects the sustainable coffee, which is sustainable livelihood that we're gonna have.
But it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Like,
so
imagine that we didn't have a road to go to the farm until 2 years ago. So what we are doing is to try to change those barriers to access to those needs. But it's not just one case. It's the case of a lot of people who have the same limitations. Like for me, sustainability is the moment where you can say like, okay, I sold the coffee, and with the coffee I was able to pay the education of my children, the education of myself, because you need training, you need to know more about coffee if you want to do better. And then you have to resolve your basic needs.
So it's more like meeting the current needs without having to interfere or to interact the future needs as well.
Of course, because the way I see my farm, my parents were about to sell the farm 5 years ago. Because we were in debt. We were in debt with the banks, with the government, and what we are doing now is to try to pay those bills from the past. And what I see, the countryside, the way I see farms, is that they are still trying to, pay the bills and the debts that they have from the past. And to solve these barriers, you need to have and to receive more money year by year to try to solve these problems.
That's amazing. I feel like people don't necessarily understand that coffee is more than a beverage. Coffee is a necessity to a family like his and to people that I represent in Rwanda. Coffee is being, from the revenues we generate from selling coffee, we pay for medications, we build infrastructures for farmers so that they can access easily the farm, the washing station. It pays basic needs, school fees, healthcare, food. There are farmers that are still can afford to have 2 meals per day. I that's I want everybody who's watching this to understand that coffee is a
Yes.
necessity.
Yes.
Coffee is beyond just a cup. Is the life that happens to the people that have created this cup, right?
Imagine a lot of baristas can go and can pay a trip from, I don't know, United States to Colombia, but Colombian producers cannot go to the United States because
Yeah,
they cannot pay,
of course. They
because
can't
the
afford it.
revenues that they have
They
are
reinvest
enough.
back to
Yes.
to the
So my vision is like, if we don't have that investment, if we don't do invest in the farms, we are not going to have that roasteries, that coffee shops.
yeah.
So they are not. They are like they cannot work with coffee.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think we've touched base a lot on the challenges that faced by farmers or faced by coffee farm families. I want you to discuss about opportunities. Like today we're here. We
Yes.
wouldn't be here if there was not an opportunity for this exchange program that is ongoing. And shout again to Coffee Black and to Vanderbilt and other supporters of this cause that me and him. By the way, we're not in Rwanda. We're
in
not in
Memphis.
Colombia. We are in Memphis, in America, right now, and we decided to have this discussion. And it's definitely a dream for me to visit Latino producing country, Colombia or any other country. I want to ask you just a random question. What is your favorite coffee on a daily basis?
My favorite coffee is a Castillo
Yes.
because it's the coffee that I have tasted for my whole life.
Oh yeah.
I know the notes, I know the
Tell us about
flavor.
it.
It's a coffee that is at the beginning is like soft, but then you have like chocolate notes.
So it gets bolder.
Yes, and at the beginning and at the end it's like a little bit bitter. It's like sour, but not too much. So I want my coffee like to be sweet at the beginning, and at the end I want that more feel.
So do you
that
drink
make
it
me
black or you add sugar?
Black, totally black. That's the way that we have been doing like
By the way,
whole life.
I've tasted Castillo. It's one of my favorite coffee from Colombia from him. Can you tell us about like what makes the coffee from Colombia the best? Is it the topography of the country? Is it the altitude? Is it the way people process it? Is it the way you roast it? Is it like tell us a bit about what in essence that beautiful flavor that we get?
I am surprised because when people say that Colombian coffee is the best, like I have you know, I am still thinking because I have tried a lot of good coffees from Africa, from Ethiopia,
Every
from
country
Kenya,
produces
from
the
Rwanda.
best, yeah.
The coffee that I taste from you is excellent. So I am still trying to think about like why people say that. One of the reasons that make Colombian coffee important is the narrative that Colombia, the industry in Colombia used to promote coffee from Colombia. That we did a lot of branding during the 50s, during the 60s. We did a lot of investment to create that narrative of Colombian coffee, and it's still in the minds of people. And then because of that narrative, we were able to have like a big promotion in the market, so the coffees are easily sold. And then the last 20 years we have been able to grow better coffees, to have like different varieties that are like
and improve the quality and all of that.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to do with Rwandan coffee. 'Cause
Yes.
I feel like there hasn't been a lot of awareness built on Rwandan coffee. Obviously, a lot of people know Rwanda for its tragic story, but we have one of the best coffee in the
Yes.
world. And obviously, I can't do it alone. It's through tasting,
Yes.
sharing it with people, and allowing people to taste it.
That's like you have to be proud of the product that you are putting on the table.
Yeah.
So I am proud of my coffee because it is excellent, the coffee is good, but your coffee is excellent too. So you have to be proud of the product that you are producing without thinking about this barrier of the score, because sometimes in the market the score is like a barrier for the people, but you can do better if you do little adjustment. So what we do in the farm, if you ask me about like what processes we do, like we pay a lot of attention to the picking of the cherries,
like which color of the
the
cherry
color
you
of the
pick.
cherries.
Yes, of course.
One of the particularities is that we also focus a lot on the floating and in the washing moment of the coffee. So we wash the coffee like 3 times.
Yeah, Colombia is known to have one of the best fully washed coffees.
Yes.
I feel like you're one of the countries that were doing or initiated that process of fully washed. But we have audience. Sometimes the audience is not necessarily into coffee. When he said about you have to pay attention to the color of the cherry, I'm sure some of you are familiar with this statement or the saying that the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. So the riper the cherry, the sweeter the coffee.
Yes.
So we pay attention a lot on picking up the ripe cherries to enhance the sweetness in the coffee. Not to take too long, me and Mario can talk forever, but we want to wrap it up with a few other questions that goes like this. Mario, what do you hope for your children to learn from your coffee life? I don't know if you're gonna have children.
Yes, of course. I like my father used to say that she made 3 children to have a lot of help with their activities on the farm, and he did it. Like he had 3 children, 3 kids working on the farm.
Yeah.
We grew up working in the farm, like doing the harvesting, doing different things.
Yeah.
But the same way I want my children work in my farm as farmers, because that's like the first thing that I'm going to do. They have to be in the farm. They need to know how to grow coffee, how to clean out the coffee, how to produce the best coffee. But at the same time, I want my children to know about the coffee industry, like the business of coffee, because that's a big business. We were not taught to sell our own coffee, and that's what I did. I had to learn by myself. I had to read a lot to know how the coffee industry works, and now I'm able to know like what is the real price of my coffee. I think that people have to do these 2 things at the same. You have to produce, but you have to promote and to be able to sell your own coffee.
So basically, he's saying that you want your children to not only be farmers, but also be coffee
entrepreneurs.
That's a perfect word.
Yes.
The last question is, what is your message? Not the last. This is the second last question. What is your message for hope for anyone struggling to make it as a farmer?
So you have to know that you have the most important thing in the world, that is the land. You have the land. You have the land. Without the land, there is no coffee. And if I decide to keep my coffee in my farm, I am going to impact the market, because my coffee is important to the market. So you have to be conscious about the people that you are giving your coffee, because it's like giving. You are giving something that is important to you. You spend 4, 5, 6 years producing that coffee, and sometimes you just give it to any customer. And what I think is that you need to pay attention to the people that you are giving this product. If you have a person who you trust what they are doing like you, so you can give the coffee for that people to brew better, to sell that coffee, to find a good customer. So what I want people know is that you have the most important thing in the whole industry chain, that is the coffee, the product, and the land. Without land, there is no coffee. Without coffee, there is no
And
coffee shops. Without coffee,
yeah.
there is no
There's no From
coffee
Origin
industry.
podcast.
There is no coffee industry.
Yes.
So you have the most important thing and be proud of the coffee that you are producing, and think twice when you are going to sell your coffee, because that's the result of your labor and you need to
enjoy the fruit
of your labor.
Yes. Okay, my last question is, what does coffee mean to you?
The coffee is my life. I was born in the middle of the farm, and that's why my life, um, like, it's all like my roots are always calling me.
Okay.
So I'm thinking always about my farm, the place where I was born. I want my farm to be my the place where I'm going to be, because when we die, we are going to go back to the same, to the same place.
Yeah.
So I want.
You want to be buried in the coffee farm?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's good.
Yes. So, and the reason why is because all my childhood happened in those coffee crops, and I have the best memories going around my farm with my family.
I can only picture that.
So that's my dream. That's my hope. That's my life. And then coffee became not just this dream, but also a professional career. So we are roasting coffee, we are selling coffee, we are doing research with coffee. So coffee is my life.
I just remembered something. I promised you that was the last question, but I just remembered something that we talked about on this trip. That what do you think about the certifications that are imposed on farmers, and how did that limit you from reaching your potential as a coffee farmer?
So I want you to know that we are been working for 50 years and more, because that's the age of my mother. So my mother told me the same when she was born. She was born also in the farm. And maybe my grandmother used to work with coffee before she was born. We have been working for 50 years and more. We don't have any certification. We are able to produce coffee, to do the dry milling process in the farm, to do the roasting process, and we don't have any coffee certification. We have the sanitary certifications to be able to sell the coffee as an aliment, as food. And we spend a lot of time getting those certifications, because that's normal. That's like that's a product, that's food, so you need health certification. But we don't have any certification. I am a barista. I've been working for 2 years in different coffee shops in France, here, in America, but also in Colombia. I taught my brothers to brew coffee in the best way, and we don't have any certification. And what I really believe is that you can do your job, you can do the best job without those certifications, because we haven't have the money to pay, and they are so expensive. They are so expensive.
Speaking of you currently living in Paris,
I just want to finish with one thing. For me, those certifications validate more the work that foreign people does than the work that farmers do. So those certifications are for the people who maybe doesn't know too much about the coffee, and they want to be validated for different institutions than for the people that are producing that coffee. So that's what I see how the industry works. They get validation, so they can say, this coffee that you produce is bad coffee, and this coffee that maybe my friend produce is the best coffee. So that's a validation for them, and not a validation for us. And what I say is that because I grow my own coffee, I don't need validation for anybody. I just need my validation because I know how to do it.
You know how to do it better. Thank you, Mario. I completely forgot that question, but I feel like I was no, I just remembered. It was I know you live in Paris currently. You're doing your PhD, and you interact a lot with coffee shop owners over there. Have you ever thought about bringing your coffee to France? And if that's so, you know that next year we're gonna have to have this other new certification, certification. And what do you think about that particular certification?
So I want to tell something. The industry is made to block any intent that we have to sell the product that we produce. So imagine this. If I want to sell my green coffee in France, I pay 5% of taxes. If I want to sell roasted coffee in France, I have to pay 20% of taxes. It means that the small revenues that I can produce are not going to me, are going
to the
to the
buyers
country.
of the
And those kind of laws were created to keep their business going.
Which
So-
I think it's an opportunity for us to trade within our country.
Yes.
Promote domestic consumption.
Yes.
Trade within our region, because I feel like there's just a continual initiation of these certifications that continue to be a burden to farmers, because they can't still afford those that are already existing. So I feel like initiating all these certifications may be for a great cause, but they still put a lot more burden to smallholder farmers who are still struggling to compete at the international market for their low brand awareness, plus now having to pay for all these certifications put a lot more burden to them.
And I see also this as an opportunity, because the market is very oversaturated in Europe. It's oversaturated, and I see these consuming countries as an opportunity, these producing countries as an opportunity to create this a change of coffee, so we can improve and increase the local consumption. Imagine Rwanda consuming more coffee from Colombia. Imagine Colombia consuming more coffee.
So we do exchange like that.
Yes.
Well, we're hoping that day will come.
That's the way I see this opportunity.
Yeah.
And what I think is that this opportunity is created by people like you who are doing a great job.
Thank
Who are so imagine this the same way that other drinks like tea, matcha had entered to the market. We can use coffee as a product that can enter to the local consumption.
Correct.
So we can have more Rwandan coffee in Colombia and more Colombian coffee in Rwanda.
Yes.
That's what I think.
That day will come and we cannot wait. So I'm gonna wrap up our discussion. I don't want to do it, but because of the time and we've got to be somewhere else, and obviously we don't want to overwhelm you guys with a lot of information, but it's been a great honor to have Mario on our podcast from Origin.
I just want to say that this opportunity is another opportunity for you to know that there is Colombian producer, Colombian people who can help you. I can help you in whatever you need. Like, you have my contact with Sumaya.
I'll tag him down, obviously, as a collaborator.
And what I appreciate of this opportunity is that I know that there is a colleague, a professional, working with the same dreams, with the same objectives, so we can collaborate. Like, you are not alone, like farmers are not alone.
No.
And farmers are the most important people in the coffee industry. So if we collaborate, if we are united, like, we can do whatever we want because it's our product. You have to be conscious about that. It's our product, and we decided, like, we need to put our own rules to decide what the future of the coffee is going to be. So we are able to put the rules, and we are able to decide what is going to be the future of the coffee. That's what I want you to know, and that's what you to take care, and that's my take of this conversation.
Thank you so much, Mario. All remember, coffee makes us one, and only together we can elevate. I'm really happy about this opportunity to have Mario on here, and we will continue to have so many other people from different areas, and obviously consumers as well, from origin as well, because I feel like the industry or coffee just needs everybody. This producers, obviously, without coffee farmers, we don't have anything to celebrate, but also people that truly ethically go and pay $6 per cup because they understand the value, and that value is the community behind the coffee that they're paying for. Those are also amazing people. So thank you guys again. This platform is for elevating the coffee people, coffee communities, like Mario's family, like my own people, like everybody else, and to continue to give voice and amplify their voices through discussions like this, learning about. Mario is such a genius person, by the way. He's just so humble enough to say it, but he's a professor. Where, Mario?
In Paris.
In Paris. And what are you teaching about?
So I am a professor of African diasporic literature. So it means that there is art. There is art produced by Afro-Colombian writers. I am working in a thesis with Afro-Colombian writers, and what I am doing with coffee is to put the ideas and the concepts of literature and Pan-African thought with what we have as a product. So
Correct.
It's like for me, coffee is the materialization of the concepts that we have, and what I have learned of what I think and what inspires me to work with Coffee Lab is that materialization. So in the university, we tend to discuss about different things. We know, we are aware of different problems. We don't do anything. So with coffee, we are able to do anything because it's something tangible.
Absolutely.
We can touch it. We can decide.
We can smell it. We can drink
yes.
it. Thank you so much, Mario. It's been a great pleasure having you.
Thank
you guys
Maya.
for watching this episode, and I'll come back to you with another guest next time. Thank you, guys.